Hello and welcome to the Gallant Few Rangers podcast. My name's Colin Graham and I'll be your host today. As always, I'm one half of a dynamic duo this evening. The other half, providing the looks, patter and the knowledge, Graham Campbell. Graham, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for having me on again.
No, thanks for coming on, mate. I just turn up to talk nonsense, so I need somebody to balance it out every week. So we're in two minds to do a pod this week because it's been quite a while since Rangers have had a game. Obviously, the last time we played was the scudding of Celtic last Sunday. Have you enjoyed the 7 or 8 days of that since?
Very much so. I think I'm sure we'll touch on it, but I think I've very much enjoyed today as much as most of the days, coming out with Brown's tears to mull over and enjoy. So yes, but it's obviously been lovely on the back of that. Brilliant.
Exactly, and it leads me right into my first point. Obviously, I was saying that we were in two minds if we had enough to talk about this week, but then we've seen the headline for Scott Brown. So, on behalf of everyone in the Gallant Few, Scott Brown, thanks for giving us the first topic of the podcast. I never like to focus too much on Celtic players, so I'll spin it. Fucking bravo to whatever Rangers official, Graham, was taking the cunt at him.
I think we're all, official man and so or whatever, I don't know, unless I think we'd all love to see that it was Jimmy Bell or something, maybe threw on a suit and Jimmy Bell was out in the corridor. I don't know. You've got to imagine it's potentially one of the officials or board members. It's obviously been a piece of the furniture for a few years. Know what Scott Brown's faced in the last few years with his goading of our team and our players when you're talking about some of the horrendous players we've had over the last few years. Now he's actually facing up to some real quality. He can't take it. I mean, it's unbelievable. You couldn't have written that, to be honest.
I know. And I don't know why I'm surprised about the narrative that's came out about Rangers officials should show more class to Scott Brown. The Scott Brown that done the up you gesture at Parkhead in front of Andy Halliday and the Rangers fans, to the hard man trying to take the piss out of Jason Holt, to the there's countless examples. He was big enough to dish it out, so he's made his bed, he can find where to lie in it.
100%, absolutely. And the games against Aberdeen next season, not that they need any more spice to them. I'm sure they're going to be upped ever so what in the tempo stakes.
Aye. Hopefully it's. I say hopefully, but there's no doubt in my mind we'll just continue to put him in his place.
The thing is, the thing that's going to happen as well, he'll end up being the Aberdeen manager in the next year. Stephen Glass is going to make an absolute arse of it, a rip-roaring arse of that job, and Brown will end up being their manager. I mean, it's there, it's written. So he's going to be a bit about for a bit longer yet, and he'll need to get used to taking a scalp in Ibrox as Aberdeen manager as well going forward, because I guarantee that is what's going to happen.
As much as that sounds beautiful, Stephen Glass fucking up at Aberdeen gone like demise to his demise, Scott Brown having a shite entry to management. The downside is everybody knows my love for Ross McCrory. I just hope he gets sold before he gets dragged in with it.
I'm sure he will. Maybe.
There's always a home at Ibrox for you, Ross, if you're listening. I'm sure you are. So on the subjects, some of the other players out on loan. Even though Rangers weren't playing this weekend, there's been a lot of chat around some of the boys we have out on loan. So I've just thought I'd get your opinion on that before we look ahead to Livingston's game. First of all, Dwayne Middleton scored an absolute fucking screamer in the League Cup the Scottish Cup semi-final. Free kick. It was Ronald de Boer-esque. If Ronald de Boer had a left peg, he would have been proud of this. But he came on, pretty much helped change the game. Got one assist and one goal in the 2-1 win. Glenn Middleton's a funny one, man. In my hearts of hearts, I don't think he has a future at Rangers, but there's a player in there, and I don't know what they would do with him.
For me, he's not going to make this. I don't. This is absolutely no dig at Greg Wild in any way. I think Middleton's in the same mould as Greg Wild, and Greg Wild put a lot into Rangers, and he did really well. But in terms of longevity, I don't think Glenn Middleton has that at Rangers. Kind of like Greg Wild, very direct, very fast, but in the long run, probably not a real Rangers class. What we're looking for right now, he could certainly do a job, but I just don't see it. And I actually think, by the way, I really rate Jack Anick. I really liked him when he was at Rangers. I thought he would be an excellent squad player. I still would actually have him as a backup as sorts. I really rate him. I think he was at fault for the free kick. It was a great free kick, great strike, and he did immensely well for the assist as well. And he had a few runs in the left after that. I ended up watching the game. It was decent enough, but he really did light it up. However, I just don't see it. I really don't. I'd love him to make it, and I think he was a shining light maybe a couple of years ago when we weren't great, and I think that's probably why we're all more endeared to him than we would be. But I just don't see him making the cut for this Gerrard team.
I'm the same, but at the same time, I have major FOMO when it comes to Glenn Middleton, because I do think he's really going to have a decent career. And while it may be 5-6 years down the line, and Rangers can't afford to keep somebody 5-6 years down the line, a wee bit of me wants Rangers to maybe keep him and try and get a good deal and a sell-on fee and stuff, because I don't know where it comes from, but I've got kind of the feeling of John Fleck about him, where he was decent enough to be part of a squad at one point, but never quite ever going to make a regular appearance. But John Fleck's went on to have a very good career. But I don't know, is that fair to Glenn Middleton just to try and keep him on to get a good deal? Is it feasible for the club? I think I'm clutching at straws there.
I think you're right to maybe mention other players that went on. John Fleck is really kind of one in a million, so to speak, of failing kind of here. He looked amazing, failed, but what he's done in England's incredible. I mean, absolute hats off to him. As I'd said, maybe more like a Greg Wild player who will have a really good career and forge a really good career in England, whether it's Championship, League One, League Two. A really good level of football. Let's face it, we'd all love to be playing that as well. If you can make it, I think that's more Glenn Middleton than. I mean, you've got to remember as well, we got him off the books at Norwich, and I know they're yo-yo between Premier League and Championship as well. I just think he will be more the lower levels English football. Happy to be proven wrong, but I just don't think we'll see him at Rangers. Again, I'll be honest.
I think we both agree on that. Aye. But all the best to him, regardless of what happens.
Absolutely.
You know, I'd much rather see Glenn Middleton win the Scottish Cup this season than Jamie Murphy, to put it that way. So on yourself, Middleton. Let's prove us wrong. Next one, what I asked you about, Graham, Stephen Kelly. I've been a massive fan of Stephen Kelly since he went down to Ayr United in the Championship last season, and he did stick out in that Ayr United team, who were decent at the time. I know they're shite this season, but they were pushing for the playoffs. I think they actually got into the playoff spot. And Stephen Kelly, I'm sure he was either player of the year or young player of the year. Started off quite slowly at Ross County, but he's grown into it. Very much a regular key starter now. I think it's still too early for him to come into Rangers, but I don't know. Personally, I think it's too early for him to come into Rangers, but I wouldn't be annoyed if he did come in and he was maybe one of the 7 midfielders, if you get me.
Again, I just don't see it. Again, I don't think he's good enough. Sorry. I think it's good. He was at Ayr. I think we need to try and get more of our players out to other Premier League clubs, which is what we've done in the last year and a half, which I think is great. Testament to Steven Gerrard. I think he's obviously seen that there was a gap, whereas before maybe sending these players out to Championship, League One, whatever, not great. one thing you've seen them across the city doing a lot in the last few years is getting their players out to other SPL clubs, and that's something that we weren't doing enough of. So yes, it was great start of the season. I know it was part of a deal now, but when we'd sent Mccrory to Aberdeen, when we'd sent Stephen Kelly to Ross County, Middleton to Hibs, and Jamie Murphy when he went to Hibs, we're talking about that's what we should be doing. Obviously, some of them aren't prospects we're going to see back, no doubt about that, but so it is great. We've got Stephen Kelly at Ross County. Again, I just don't see him having an impact on our team. You look at the strength and depth we have now in the squad, and I think that's where our fans really actually have to get used to that again, that level that is the expectation of playing for Rangers. And I think in the cold light of day, a lot of these youngsters maybe don't have that, other than maybe one. I don't know if we'll touch on him. Kennedy, maybe.
Well, we'll come to Kennedy in a minute, but staying in Stephen Kelly, I think he's improving at a rate where in a year or maybe 18 months' time you can see him in this Rangers team. I agree with you. Right now he's not good enough to come into our team, but I think there's definitely enough there, and he's still young. And if we look at like, you don't need to be 18 to break through from the youth team to the first team anymore. It doesn't have to be the Barry Ferguson until some players do break in later, 22, 23. Ryan Kent was maybe 23 when he came to Rangers. I think I'm still holding out hope for Stephen Kelly. Not just hope, but I've seen enough that he's improved enough over the last year to show that he can continue to improve. I think there's still potential there. Guy you mentioned there, Kai Kennedy. What's next for him, do you think?
I honestly think that we will look at maybe a shorter term or a full season. I think it would need to be at an SPL club next season, potentially. Depending how pre-season goes, I think he really lit it up early with Cali. I think he's done really well with Wraith Rovers. I think he's been a real... Every time I've actually seen them a couple of times when they've played, if the game's now, by God, I'd watch any football, to be fair, so please don't judge me on that one. I've seen him playing it. He does look really good. I think he's maybe had less of a run in the team the last few weeks, but you would expect that as a young player. But God, he could make an impact. He's so skillful. Some of the goals he's already scored, and I know it's in the Championship, but some of the goals, some of the assists he's made, the runs, his general play, you can tell he's such a smart player. He's silky. The ball can stick to his feet at times. I think potentially us having him as a more central midfielder player rather than maybe a wide player, I think he could be that real kind of playmaker in the middle of the park. Potentially, look, I don't know, I'm not a coach. He's small, he's dynamic. I really genuinely think he can make it. And obviously that new deal shows that probably Gerrard does as well, to be honest. I think he just needs a bit of luck, which is, of course, what you need. You're a young Scottish player trying to break through at Rangers. But yeah, I've got high hopes for him. I think out of all loanees out, he's the one probably most likely to keep an eye out for.
No, we had Kai Kennedy. I do think it's time that we get him into the top flight, but I'm not necessarily looking for him to go to a Hibs where it will potentially suit his play, like kind of Hibs. Well, Hibs will attack everybody in the league. That's one thing you need to give them credit for. Even Rangers and Celtic, they will play expansive attacking football. I don't think he necessarily gets into the Hibs team right now, but even if he does go to St Mirren, that provides its own challenges. But I quite like that. I quite like seeing young players have the challenge of not being a regular first team starter and how they have to prove themselves and really pick it up. I think that gives them we know there's talent there, so it's just really, can he hone in his work rate? Can he adapt to different systems and ultimately improve?
It's funny you said St Mirren. I think that's actually one of the ideal places for him. You look at some of the young Scottish guys here anyway. Is it McGrath? Is it Jamie McGrath this season? He's been really good St Mirren wise. They do kind of play a more narrow game, I think. Jim Goodwin seems like a really solid manager. I think St Mirren would be a good place for him. Maybe even, God, I hate them, but it's Dundee United. I think these are the teams that he would actually really shine in. And we should be aiming to get him out to some of these teams with the expectation St Mirren have had a good season. They'll be on the up probably next season. They'll be wanting a bit more, top six, probably want to maybe even go one further in one of the cups. I think that is the kind of place we need to be getting them in. I just don't think next season's the right place or time for us to be trying to push youth through. I just don't think that's the...
Well, there's every argument that a team who have now established a winning mentality, it's easier for the younger players to come in and see that, rather than the weight of expectation of winning the 55th league title. I think if you bring young players through when we were like 10 years without a trophy, I'll look at who's the left back who we were all raving about, then got fucking slaughtered at Parkhead. Miles Bierman. Aye, I mean, I think there's every argument if he was playing in a successful Rangers team, in and out of his squad, then he might have not made it at Rangers, but he wouldn't be back in Malta playing his football, I don't think.
I think Miles Bierman's one of these. I look across the city, for example, right? See, when you've had a really rubbish season, you shine, you think that one of the younger players, it's kind of been a shining light, so you give them a big contract or a new contract. I think Miles Bierman for us was that shining light. Like they've given Stephen Welsh 4 years, for example. He is never going to make it. And what I mean is, there's always someone you want to pin your hopes on or think, oh, they've been a shining light in a rubbish season. Miles Bierman was kind of like that for us for a year and a bit. He was never going to be. No. He was never going to be that. And I think you can get caught up on focusing too much on the youth when the rest of your team's maybe not great. Right now, we're in a great position that we can actually go, okay, he's good enough or he's not, and we can probably be that cutthroat. And I think maybe Stephen Kelly a push, definitely Kennedy. And it is exciting in a way like that. And we've already got guys like King and Mayo that are maybe on the cusp. But I can't pretend to say I know or have seen loads of those two. So, but you hear good things.
Last one we'll just cover on. There's that many out on loan. You've just reminded me about Lewis Mayo, who's having a cracking season at Dunfermline. But last one I do want to touch on, who has been a debate the last 2 years, really. Robbie Mccrory. What's the next move for him? I mean, for me, Graham, I don't think with Alan McGregor signing another deal, if John McLaughlin's still happy to stay next year, there's no sense in bringing Robbie Mccrory back.
I'll be honest. There was something about Robbie Mccrory at the start of the season. I'd actually thought I was surprised we'd signed John McLaughlin. Obviously, in hindsight, I'm not saying anything bad. What a great signing he's proven to be as our number two and whatnot. But I think Robbie Mccrory would have genuinely benefited more in being in a winning dressing room this season than another season out on loan. I think he had a successful spell with Livy. I think if he'd came back, he could have been a natural number two this season with the amount of games we've played. If you look at what McLaughlin's done and stepped in, I genuinely think that would have been more beneficial for Robbie Mccrory. As I say, hindsight's easy. He's now fallen out of the Livy team probably for most of the season at this point. I think the ship's probably sailed. I genuinely think if we'd kept him this, I know you're shaking your head. If we'd kept him this season, I think I know it sounds mental. I really do. I remember, I think it was one of the big podcasts. It might have been like your Peter Crouch or something. I remember him saying something about sometimes going in loan isn't the be all and end all. Yes, it's good going into a dressing room, a professional dressing room, where no matter what level. However, it's also important to get that experience of being in a winning professional dressing room, even though if you're not playing. And I genuinely think that's what Robbie Mccrory needed this season, and he didn't get it. He went to Livy and it's not really materialised.
So, no, but I get the argument it might not have been the most successful loan spell for him this season, but I think we're pushing our frillies a wee bit too much to say the ship's sailed. He's 22, man. He's fucking 22.
No, can it wait? Hold on. I'm not saying the ship sailed in his I'm not writing off his career, but I'm
Well,
I'm an expectation on the ceiling with Rangers just now, and for me, he's not on the ceiling. I'm sorry. Look, it's one man's opinion. Berate me. Just berate me. Go.
fucking hell. With my opinion on Robbie Mccrory, I don't think it's right to bring him back to Rangers right now because I think he's had enough playing time and, being a regular first choice keeper over his last few loan spells. It doesn't make sense to bring him back battling for the second choice keeper because he's nowhere near Alan McGregor. He's not. Maybe if he was at the level where he's battling to be number one, I could see it bringing back. But I think it will do more harm than good to bring him back to Rangers and get so little game time. I think another loan move because he's only 22. Look at the amount of loan moves that Alan McGregor. Alan McGregor was on loan to what? He was about 25 until he broke through.
Yeah, look, I'm not suggesting bring him back because he would be number 3. Mm-hmm. For me, if he had been number 2 last season, number 2 next season, for me that could have been a more potential progression for him rather than maybe an unsuccessful spell at Livy. The next one's really vital. And I know you talk about McGregor when he was at St Johnstone, Dunfermline. I get it worked for him. But I think the loan side, honestly, and my mind's went blank, but what other successful loanees out we've had over the years, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a list, but I can't think.
Can you count Charlie Adam? I think that's the last one. He went on loan to St Mirren.
If you want.
I'm clutching at straws with this. So, see when listeners, every week I'll put a text out to everybody in the Gallant few just saying, right, who's up for this? Because we've all got work and commitments, so not everybody's available every week. When Graham said he was up for it, I thought, no, we'll talk about the loans because he's so positive about all things Rangers and fucking hell, man, you've pissed in my pudding tonight, ain't you? Christ.
Mate, see if we'd had this conversation a year ago, I'd probably be like, no bother, Kelly, he'll make it. Kennedy, get him in the new. Yeah, man. Get McCrory in number 1. Yeah, nah, I'm not feeling him, I'm afraid. Fuck Kennedy.
Well, I'm just going to timestamp this episode for when 2 years' time when we're winning title number 57. Stephen Kelly scores a hat-trick and Robbie Mccrory saves a penalty at Parkhead. But yeah, I'll come back to that one.
When this pod's been invited out to NASA and I'm left behind for my Paul and McCrory viewpoints.
Oh, fuck's sake, man. We just dropped our sponsor this week, so NASA's not very good. Fuck's sake, man. Anyway, we digress. On the subject, the youth system, Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson had quite an interesting interview on RTV through the week. We'll touch on the Ross Wilson side at first when he was talking about the Colts team and the barriers that they faced in terms of trying to push us, and this is a question that's never going to go away until the Colts team come in to play in the professional leagues. For as long as they're not there, we'll always be asking, will this benefit the bigger Scottish game? I get I've got blue tinted glasses on, Graham, but I find the positives outweigh the negatives by getting Old Firm Colts team into the lower divisions to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a must. Like, I get probably the bitterness from the rest of Scottish football in a sense. Why the hell should we let Rangers and Celtic Colts team in the bottom league? What will this do for us? Blah, blah, blah. I totally get it. From our point of view, of course, it's a total positive. Really, as well, I mean, you're talking about Scotland and the national team. Yeah, a lot of the guys listening probably aren't interested. That's fair enough. But from a Scottish viewpoint, I'm surprised there is this much kind of pushing back on it. You've got Rangers and Celtic Colts You've got two multi-million purpose-built training complexes. It's probably good for the game as a whole to allow these guys to play at a decent level. Now, I don't know what the difference really is between League 2, League 1 and the Lowlands. It's been interesting listening to Alex Ray a lot in the last week. He's been quite vocal about how those periods between 17 and 20 for him, that age, was huge in playing in, I think it was like the West of Scotland League or something. He said he notched up 100 games. It really gave him a taste for that competition, the competitiveness, and it really stood him in good stead. I think it's so vital for us as a club. I think we would start to bring that through, and I just don't get it. We got to the semi-final, nearly knocked out Cali in the semi-final of the Turnix Cup last year. It just shows what they can do, and I don't get why, as well, sorry to ramble, but the clubs would turn down the gate money. You tell me, Rangers fans, on a week where an international week or something, or when we're away on the Sunday, on the Saturday at 3 o'clock, you wouldn't get a ton of Rangers fans heading through to League 2, League 1 like we did when we were down there anyway. Like, it would happen. It's nuts. They're turning down money as well.
Exactly, and I get the fans, like, supporting a football club is an emotional thing, and you don't always think about it rationally, but for the clubs to be able to turn down that gate money is fucking madness. Even you're talking about international week, more often than not, if Rangers are away, they'll be playing on the Sunday. A lot of Rangers fans will go and watch the Colts on the Saturday, then watch Rangers on the Sunday. We are that obsessed about the clubs, and if you think about the Rangers fans up and down the country, who like the RSC and Inverness, not everybody can always get down for the games. You know, like a lot of people will go and watch the Colts if they're playing up north, if they're playing Montrose or whatever. I think from a financial point of view, in the world of COVID, when everybody, like every league in the world, has to be evaluate how they're going to make their money, I just think it's a no-brainer.
100%. I'd actually like to see more as well, going to see the women's team as well. I think that's something that might pick up a bit in the next coming few years as well, and I think it's something that deserves to pick up. I think it's great that they went professional. We made some good signs. I think this season's starting to tail off a bit. A couple of rubbish results against Celtic and Glasgow City, but whether it's the Colts, whether it's the women's team, you're seeing somebody playing at Rangers top. I think it's really important, and I'd be fully behind it, and would love to go to some of these smaller grounds again in a kind of more relaxed capacity, I guess. We're not seeing Rangers and struggles and strife, but we're seeing a young, hungry Colts team trying to defeat the smaller competitive teams in the lower leagues of Scotland. I think it'd be great, but it doesn't look maybe like it's going to happen, to be fair.
No, it's just because of the backwards fucking regressive country that we live in. I was about to say in terms of football, but you could probably branch it out to a few different aspects of life. On the subject of that interview, you and I were talking off air about Stuart Robertson's part of that interview when he was talking about the museum and his plans for that. What did you make of Stuart Robertson's part of the interview?
Can I just say the first thing about Stuart Robertson, I really, really like Stuart Robertson a lot. He's just one of those guys that I could actually listen to talk to a lot. I think he talks so much sense. He handles himself and puts himself across really well. I really like Stuart Robertson.
What I like about him, he doesn't use a lot of jargon, or he doesn't make himself sound like a chief exec, but at the same time, it doesn't sound as if he's purposely trying to dumb it down for you. He just speaks fucking naturally. I do really like that.
Totally, and I think it was really comforting, and I'm not surprised to hear him say it when he was talking about the various organisations or kind of well-known museum folk, to a better term, I don't know, that they tied in with over this period of time to make sure what they're putting in place is going to be great for us as fans, and is going to be what the club deserves, because what we deserve is something like this. The early plans, I guess we've all kind of seen some of the plans and some of the pictures and the floor plans, that sort of thing. I think for me, when he was talking about getting that balance between what's in our trophy room and what's in the museum, yeah, that would be a tough choice. But I love that they're probably looking at I'm sure they'll put that out to the fans. My Gers, I think he was talking about voting in My Gers. I would imagine the Cup Winners' Cup will be one that will be in the museum, for example. Maybe a trophy like that, I think. But then there's certain aspects, like for me, the bike, I think you couldn't take that out of the trophy room, for example. I think that is, for me, like the trophy room. You go in, you see the bike against the wall for it. So I think there's a balance like that. But something like the Cup Winners' Cup, of course, are going to need to make a big deal about 1972 in Barcelona, and that's got to be there. But on the same toss of coin, it's what you keep, what you not. So it'll be really interesting.
Let me run an idea past you. And Stuart Robinson, if you're listening, if you take on this idea, you won't have to sell Alfredo Morelos next year. £55 for a shot of the bike. I'll buy the first 2 goes. Just one lap, round Ibrox. £55. You'll make millions.
I think it's hard to disagree. It really is. It's hard to disagree. Maybe even, I think you'd pay £1,000 if if you're able to piggyback Alfredo Morelos as he rides around the side of it. That'd be good.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, see, what's the things called where you somebody cycles around and you're in a wee buggy behind it? What are they called again?
Oh, no idea.
You get get the K and pick a player of your choice to fucking cycle you around Ibrox on the same bike.
Who would you pick? Who would you pick?
Oh, that's a really hard one. Andy Firth, he's just my favourite guy ever.
Do you know what? I think that's hard to disagree with. I think he'd be an absolute buzz to go around the pitch in Ibrox in that bike. So yeah,
it probably justifies the contract extension as well.
Totally.
So moving back into the actual news and away for the nonsense. Fashion Sakala, you're a big Belgian football fan. I'm hoping. Do you know, out with the obligatory YouTube video, that I'm scarred for watching these YouTube highlights, because the first one I remember watching in recent memory was Umar Sadiq. Obviously he's doing okay now, but what a fucking come down that was. So I purposely not watched Fashion Sakala's highlight reel, just so I'm not disappointed. But for what I gather, he's a very forward-thinking, attacking player. It's good to see the club doing business so early as well.
Absolutely. From what I can see, he's strong as a central 3 and on the left, so obviously that's going to give us a bit more dynamic. We're always looking to have players that can play across all front 3, and we have that in abundance, to be fair, and he's just going to add to that. I think people might think that he's going to come in as some sort of replacement for Morelos. If the rumours are to be believed that Morelos, Kent want to make a full frontal assault in the Champions League next season, that sort of chat very much excites me. And I think Sakala's more than likely maybe going to be a replacement for maybe Defoe. Even. Who knows? I think Defoe, now if we can, I don't really know if this chat's going. I've not heard. I'm assuming there's been chat around Defoe maybe being offered some sort of backroom position, potentially, to be in and around coaching. That would be probably one of the signings of the season, I'll be honest, if we got that next season. Now, somebody like Sakala coming in, we would have Kemar Roof, Morelos. I still think Itten could be given more of a chance. I think he has a lot to offer. I think he's a great ploy to have up there as well. And I think we could utilise that plan B a bit more. There's been some games this season. Yes, it's been a great season. We've won these games 1-0, but there's been a couple of games where it has been so tight. It's like, just put Itten on and let's go a bit more direct. Let's play more off him. Even though he is excellent with the ball at his feet, I think it's really exciting. But Sakala, the weekend there, I think he bagged a goal, bagged an assist. He's got a good goals record in Belgium, which is no pushover league either.
Absolutely, and I think it's good to see that this signing hasn't come out of nowhere. It's not been somebody who's set the head of the light in Belgium or in one of the Eastern European League and we've just went in the name. We've been doing this. We've been doing our homework for a long time, and we've went for Sakala at the right time. Obviously, every signing is a gamble, and we just hope it works out. But there's so much thought and effort going into our scouting now, and it's excellent.
That's the thing. So we've signed 3 players: Simpson, Aforba, Sakala, right? All pre-contracts, all zero money. Now we're expecting a few guys going out. Maybe we'll make a big sale, balance the books a wee bit. All we need to do is freshen up the team. We've got a good title-winning team there. We don't really need to do much. We just need to plug any gaps if we do sell anyone important. But right now, with the players going out of contract, maybe a big sale, these 3 guys coming in, I mean, there's not a whole lot we really need to do at the squad. We're in a really good place, and at least 3 of them, spine of the team covered, they're going to freshen things up. And I think Sakala's an excellent signing.
Do you think? Well, I was about to say, do you think we'll bring anybody else in? We will bring other people in, and I get a lot of it will depend on who goes out the other way as well. But I'm not worried about losing anybody, because I know for every single player we could lose, there's 2 or 3 different options who we are ready to pounce on. But what do you think the priority is for any more summer signings to freshen up the squad?
I think potentially the middle of the park. I think you're always looking at the middle of the park anyway, but for example, losing Jack and Arfield over the last kind of month or so, it's been a huge miss, especially Ryan Jack. And you lose that kind of steely, determined midfielder, and really like what we have in the middle 3, all phenomenal options. Let's face it, no one's let us down this season, but you really need that kind of digging in kind of midfielder. I really would be a bit surprised if we didn't try and nab like I genuinely think we might try and go for like Lewis Ferguson or something. I think if we make a signing, I just don't see us making any big signings. I think they'll be more low key. We've made those 3 pre-contracts that I've spoken about. I think we'll try and 1 and 2. Obviously, this is dependent who goes out, but I could see us trying to go for like a Lewis Ferguson. I really could.
What about John Fleck? Is that realistic?
It's probably realistic, but no. Not for me. Let's go forward. Let's continue to get maybe some of the younger players in. I don't know what age is Fleck now. 29 or 28.
I think he's 30 now. But
right, 30. So for me, could somebody like, I'm not saying Lewis Ferguson comes in our team, and I don't think he'd expect to, but I would imagine whoever, if you're in that central midfield position, you're going to want to come and play under Steven Gerrard, and there's no doubt he could probably improve the game of anyone in that position. So whether you're a Lewis Ferguson or maybe they're looking at other people up and down the country, who knows? I could see it being some sort of steely kind of player from a British club.
Yeah. I think for me, with the midfield, it depends what they see as Ofuba. Is that have I pronounced his name right? Ofuba?
No idea, mate. I've been calling him Aforba. Right. I thought that was his. I don't know.
I've been calling him the cunt who's built like a British shithouse. Yeah. So him.
I think is he not the like in a changing room currently in Wickham with Ikpeatsu for Old Hartsville. I think he's outdoing him as well. So I think it says a lot. Yes, brick shithouse indeed.
I think it depends on how they. Like how Gerrard and the management team see him having an impact in the summer. Do they see him as being like one of the players pushing for a starting berth, or is it just back up to maybe 2-3 years, like Itten, if you get me, like maybe being an option, but realistically no being in contention. I think if he's just an option there to start to bleed in over the next couple of years, I think we'd need. If you're saying Lewis Ferguson, we'd need one more other than Lewis Ferguson. I think we'd need 2 midfielders in, or one player who does come in and definitely starts every week. I don't think Lewis Ferguson's there. I'm not overly sold on Ferguson. I'm really not. Here you go.
I'm talking about right now, right, as the squad is right now. Lewis Ferguson maybe comes in. I think, I don't know, I've just got this feeling in my stomach. I genuinely think we could lose Kamara with a decent bid this summer. So if Kamara went, for example, you don't just bring in, like, okay, but we're fixating a bit on Lewis Ferguson, but we would bring in someone else. So I'm saying, is the state of the squad just now that would happen. A Forba, maybe another player, like a Staley player, Blue Ferguson. If we lose other people, I think you'd see us go out and replace them potentially with money. But I'm just saying, and if our squad were to stay the same with who's going out or whatever, I think you'll find we will really not be looking to do loads. I would be genuinely surprised. I think freshen up with these 3 players, maybe we'd spend a bit of money in another player maybe somewhere on the team. But then we've got a couple of players coming back, and I think it's all about trimming them. I'm assuming, which is a shame. I like Edmondson, but I'm assuming he's probably going to get sold now. Jordan Jones sold now, but Brandon Barker sold now. So it's about trimming that squad as well.
No, true. I think for me, it's the only worry, and I don't want to sound too negative, because especially Stephen Davis, he's in the running for Player of the Year. Obviously because he's been amazing, but if you look at Davis, you can't guarantee he'll be able to play the same amount next season. Jack and Arfield are obviously got to be managed, so even if the squad does stay the same, I would still like another option in there for me in midfield.
Don't know, mate. Who's to say Davis isn't going to do a Davy Weir 41 playing about fucking 80 games?
Who that have said that? He probably will play on to his 50.
He'll not. He'll end up notching out 150 cats on Northern Ireland. You'll never see that getting beaten now. I don't think you'll ever see an outfield British player, not in this day and age, beating whatever Stephen Davis decides to push his cap tally to. Unless he maybe turns around and retires in the summer or something for Northern Ireland. I don't know, but what a legend.
Absolutely. Impeccably deserved. And he's the biggest compliment I can give him. He's earned all of those caps and all the appearances for his club on merit. It's not been sentiment. See, like, you get I think you've seen it with David Beckham to reach over the 100 cap mark or whatever. He's coming on as a sub through sentiment. It's been on merit. He's still playing at that level, and it's just a testament to the professional and the player that he is.
Totally.
So on to the actual games coming up. Then it's so weird because we won title number 55 about 17 years ago, it feels like, but still 2 games left. Livingston coming up on Wednesday away, 6 p.m. I don't know. I wish that we could give one of these Masonic handshakes to David Martindale and just say, we'll call it one each, mate. Like, it's such a nothing game, isn't it?
It is and it isn't. Like, and I'm not talking about this, let's make sure we go the rest of the season invincible and all that. I'm talking about more, Livy's always such a stuffy minging game away from home. And I think you've got a free hit. I really genuinely think we try and play a bit more of a minging game. Like, we try, and what I was saying about Itten, right, I think he deserves a run out. Why don't we try and play a bit more of a direct game? Maybe play Itten. I'd imagine Scott Wright being a good ploy up there, maybe playing off Itten and having a more steely kind of front three like that. I just think Livy isn't the game for the front three that played against Celtic, for example. I just don't feel it. I think get Itten up there, get Scotty Wright on. These are the games where we're coming to the end of the season. It's important to prepare for next season and make sure that these players are getting a taste of what they might have to do. Because see, right now, if we got injuries galore next season, I don't feel like some of these players are going to step up, know exactly what to expect. Livy away is the pinnacle of Scottish Premier League, where these are the games you need to win, and this is how they play against us. Go and show me what you can do. I think that is genuinely more important right now, and that's why I'd play some of these players, not just because they've not played for the sake of rotation, but try something different. Let's see let's see a plan B or a plan C in action against Livy and see what we do.
So who would your front three be then? Because I think through injury, the midfield three pretty much picks itself. Will be Davis, Kamara, Aribo, and the back five. If Helander or Balogun are fit, they'll maybe come in ahead of Jack Simpson, but I'd imagine it'd be Simpson alongside Golson. So I think the big question is on the front three then. Who do you try? You said it'd be different for who started against Celtic. We went with Kemmer, Ellis and Roof. Did all three of them come out? Did one of them come out too? What are you going with?
I would play right. I'd play right and Itten and probably Morelos. I would like to see Itten and Wright to either side of Morelos, but I think earlier in the season, Gerrard had spoke about almost playing Itten as like a right-hand sided number 9 of sorts, or trying to get that long ball up to him, or playing those diagonal balls. I just would like to see a different plan, just a more direct game. I'm not saying it's going to be pleasing eye, but one thing we need to do is have those different game plans. And I think Livy away is that game where, God, the start of the season, we drew 0-0 away from, and you're like, God, 55, and we're drawing 0-0 away to Livy. Again, yes, it's worked out well, but I think these are the minging games we need to show the rest of the squad this is what you're up against, and just try something different. So, yeah, maybe, but then I wouldn't like to see Roof dropped, I think, after his double and he's kind of coming on to fitness. Maybe even play him other side Itten and maybe rest Morelos for this one. I just think we need to see a bit more rotation, but for a reason, not just the sake of it.
For me, I wouldn't like to see Roof start on Wednesday, mainly because how injury prone he is, and we're playing in that fucking shocking plastic pitch. I'd actually like to see Wright and Kent either side of a striker, whether that's Morelos or Itten or whatever. I'd like to see the two start together. When we're talking about plan B, plan C and stuff, I'd like to see, because they are two very natural wide players, but they are different wide players. Yeah, mate. So I'd like to see how that looks, and for that to be potentially an option for next season. Time will tell. 6 o'clock kickoff. That's a bastard, isn't it? That's
a shiter.
I know. I'm off on holiday this week for work, but usually I finish at 6. And honestly, I don't know why they've just changed the kickoff times this season, because fans still work. Like, fans still have a life, and we're all used to planning a life around 7:45 kickoffs. I don't like it. I don't like it. But
I guess there's not that travel time for fans to get to the games, right? So most folk lucky enough to work from home, turn that laptop off and swivel their chair around, get a beer and watch the game.
You're just being a sadistic fucker. Graham and I work for the same company. I'm in the office, he works from home. So most folk, maybe, not everybody. You know that fine well. So let's finish in a high note, mate. Do you have any nice big plans for Saturday, for title day, for trophy day?
Do you know what? I don't know yet. I think I'm just going to... Do you know that way? It's one of those... I kind of got a butterflies even talking about it. The league's been won for what feels like about 5 months, but just seeing like Rangers lifting the league, we've got some of the players like Cece and Tav lift the league title. Like, that really is that's going to mean a lot to me. I'm sure as everyone, I say me as if it's just me, but everyone, like Morelos, all the shite he's taking, all the crap, been told time and time again he's not good enough, he's too much a hothead, all this crap. Like, to see him lift the title, I cannot wait to see that face with the league title over his head. That's just what I can't wait for. I don't care where I'm watching it or where I am. I've not decided that yet what I'm going to do, but see that and Gerrard with a league title finally for him. So it's going to be class. Cannot wait.
This is weird. I'm actually looking forward to Gerrard's post-match interview already about it, regardless if his win was a draw, because we know he's got to talk about winning the league and like what it means for the club. And he speaks so well, and I'm an absolute Gerrard fanboy. Always have been, and even more so now that he's the gaffer. But I'm buzzing because emotional, inspirational speech. I think that's really been my highlight on Saturday. Madly, just listening to Gerrard, watching it through tears.
Do you know what? I actually think I don't know why, I just think he's going to be really kind of not laid back out it, but I think he's going to be really professional in the sense I think he will hit home that this has given him a thirst, and I genuinely think he's quite disappointed with our cup performances, which a lot of us are. Let's face it, we all are. And I think he's going to be more, this is brilliant. This is what I've wanted for so long. but I do want more. And I think he's going to really feel that even more when he lifts that league title. I think he's really, really wanting to push on. And I hope he's here for at least.
That's what really inspired me after the St Mirren game, when you could just see the emotion and the weight lifted that we hadn't quite won the league. That came the day after, but it was within touch, and it was a foregone conclusion. But his instant reaction was, "I'm here, and I can't wait for more." And that just gave me goosebumps. That gave me butterflies. Gerrard saying, "We've done this, but I can't wait for the next thing and the next thing."
Do you know what I think is the most important thing for him? Forget everything he's done in his career. I don't think that genuinely matters to him as the manager of Rangers until he wins something. And I genuinely think delivering the league has meant he's been able to have that belonging to Rangers, that belonging to our club. We are winning something, anything. The league being the pinnacle, but we're a winning club, the most successful club in the world. He can have that swagger going down the corridors now. Not that he needs it, but I think he knows and he feels that he wants more and he needs more with Rangers before he does anything else, and he's got that hunger. And I think he's probably got a good bit of love for the club now as well.
Yeah, been long may it continue. And I think in that notice, before I burst into tears, is a very good point to wrap up. Graham, thank you for joining me.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'd just like to say before I go, I love you, Stuart Robertson and Stephen Davis.
Yep, and I'd like to say before you go, Glenn Middleton, Stephen Kelly, Robbie McCrory, chin up, don't listen to him, you've got a chance. Well, thank you all for listening. My name's Colin McDuff, and we are the people. Take care.